Okay, it's Roland from East Marsh Acres, and I just want to give you an update as to our latest project. So when we finished the house, we noticed there are some inconsistencies in terms of the kind of finishing that was apparent around the entire building itself. So we particularly noticed that there were places where cold air was intruding or warm air was leaving the house, particularly if there was a strong wind during snowstorms, cold times, etc. And so what we've done is asked a finishing carpenter to come in and to work on the openings, so the doors, the windows, etc., that are around the entire house, and to seal them up and fill in all of the spaces with foam, etc. And so we've found some interesting experiences as we're going around. So I'll show you a finished product. So here is the window beside the front door, and this window, I don't know how well you can see it, so let me see if I can get it out of the sun here. There's a space in between the actual casing board itself and the outside. So the outside of the box that the window has in it is here, and so this is insulation, silver board. So it's styrofoam with a aluminum backing, and then we filled in the additional space with spray foam, and so that's around the entire building, or the entire window itself. And then we'll be replacing the casing onto the space once this is all filled in. So we have a little bit more to fill in some of these spaces. Try to stay out of the sun so that the iris stays open. So we'll have to fill in the rest of those spaces. We've already done the door here. The door had lots and lots of open areas. There were spaces where we were actually able to see the outside, particularly underneath the door itself. So it was very problematic. This is the final product. So you can see that there is a very, very thin profile that is available here now. It's filled in next to the wall, so we're having some spaces there. And on this side, the same thing. And then he's caulked, so you can see caulking. I don't know how well you can see it on the camera, but there's caulking at every single joint that we've got all the way around, and then we'll paint it. So we've already noticed that there's a fairly significant difference in terms of temperature, air movement. Last night it was minus 12 when I got up and walked the dog this morning, and you could tell that it was much warmer in this particular area. I'll show you what that looks like. The unfinished product looks like in Trisha's studio. So here we get the same kind of thing. Lots of room that needs to be filled in with the spray foam. And so what has to happen yet is that this casing needs to be created flush with the actual wall itself, and then put the trim over top of it again. Same thing there. My office is not complete yet, so I'm not going to go in there. And our carpenter is working in here. So here you can see that the window here has been finished in the same way. He's still working on the casing around this particular door. This was very problematic. There were pieces of wood, so strapping here, that were continuous. So it was one piece of wood right from here to the outside wall, and it was creating what is called a thermal bridge. So cold air, the wood would get cold over here, and it would transfer it all the way in here. And so we were feeling a lot of cold air on the inside of the casing around the actual door itself. The door didn't fit particularly well. It was rubbing on the actual board that was around it. So this material, the MDF that you're seeing here, the latch was actually rubbing on it, and so we've been able to fill in all the spaces. He still has room to fill in there with the foam, etc. And then we move upstairs, and we'll be working on all of the windows and doors, and then finishing off a number of other sections too. So for instance, the drywall is not, or the baseboard is not finished there in the corner, in behind the dryer, the washer, etc. It's not finished to our satisfaction, and so we'll be finishing those off as well. So our carpenter Chris will be here for the better part of another week, following this week, and see how much of that we can actually finish. Getting up to some of those high windows will be an issue. I will keep video recording as we're going along, and bring you up to date as to the progress of the project itself. So my office will be worked on Friday, when I'm actually at the university doing my other job. Anyways, we'll talk to you soon. So long for now. Okay, just an update. This is later on in the day, same day that I previously recorded, and we've had a little bit of progress in terms of this window. Backlighting is going to be a problem. Anyways, got the casement back onto the the window here. This is the window in the laundry room, and he's built out the entire box around the door, and the door no longer rubs. Whoa, nice. It doesn't close yet either though. And so he's filled in the space around the door with the silver board that we had before, as well as spray foam, so that hopefully, and we have to do the feel test here, because we had quite a bit of draft that was coming through in a number of areas, but it feels much better. I'm not feeling any air movement at all, just cursorily. So we'll need to put the casing around that yet. Let me see what has been going on in other locations down here. Okay, no further movement in the studio here. Seems to be still the same. Let's see at the front door as well. So that's still the same, and that's still the same. Good. Okay, so he's been primarily moving back there. He'll need to start putting a scaffolding together to get to the windows upstairs. But I think I'll wait until tomorrow, when he's actually working on that, to actually video record it. For now, I think that this is as much of an update as we can actually have, and we'll keep you informed as to what's actually going on. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Okay, up in the bedroom, so this is our master bedroom. We've taken, or Chris has taken the entire wood casing around the door, taking that off, and has started to look at the door itself. He's started to fill in the space that was available here and across here, and down the side as well. It was very, very small over on this side, but there were spaces in between the pieces of styrofoam. And the same thing on this side. The styrofoam was not continuous, so there are air gaps, etc. We found that this piece of wood is hollow underneath it, so exactly what it's hiding we don't know. So what I've asked Chris to do is to put some holes through the actual board itself, and then to fill in the entire space with as much spray foam as he can get into there. And then we'll put the wood from the flooring back on top of that again. It'll be temporary, but it's the best that we can do with, well, not temporary, but it'll be makeshift, and there's not much more that we can do at this point other than taking the entire door out. We also found out that the door is not continuous in terms of its ability to close. So if you take a look at the distance here as compared to the distance here, it's much larger at the top and at the bottom. So in other words, the door frame itself is bulging out about here. And then so we went looking at the frame, trying to see, so what's in here. And there's a hole that's been drilled into the frame, so we can actually put a screw in there into the wood backing that's here and pull this frame, hopefully, a little bit towards the actual wall itself. And hopefully that'll actually straighten out this entire door so that it'll close properly, and then you can lock it. And then we have to put the box around it yet, put it back into the channel, and then put the casing on the wall once all of that is straightened out as well. Over the last couple of days, Patricia has been painting the walls. So now the walls themselves, so not the closet doors yet, those have not been painted, but the walls have been given a base coat and then a final coat, so they are now complete, so that we can start hanging stuff. All right, on to upstairs. It has been noticeably warmer on the first floor now that we have filled in, or had much of those empty spaces filled in. He was working on these doors over the weekend and yesterday, and was able to complete the rebuild of the doors, including putting a new floorboard in at the bottom. So that has been completely redone, and the mechanism for the door itself now works where it never did before, and it's even all the way across from the top to the bottom. So now there is no more bulge right at the handle itself, so you could never completely close it at the top or at the bottom. And there's still a little bit of trim work that needs to be done. So for instance, there's a piece that's missing there, and a piece that is missing there, right at the bottom. We'll be also fixing up some problem areas. So for instance, where you see the baseboard is not cut at a great angle, and in the corner it's the same thing. So both of those pieces will be fixed. In the bathroom, so we didn't do anything with that particular window, but this window has been building out and filling in all of the spaces as well. And then he'll put the trim back on. In the guest room, you can see how spotty things are. So if you take a look at the amount of room that's here, again, there's, in some places it's quite well done, completely filled in, and then you'll come across places where it goes directly to the back of the wall itself, and you've got open access for cold air to enter the house as well. So he's filling in all of those pieces. Right, going to the other big sliding door. So in this case, he's totally repacked around the entire door. In fact, this door was taken out and reset into space. This is a brand new board and a new piece of trim that has been placed up above, so you end up with a much better finish. Casing was repacked, and all of the trim was put back into place. And again, this door now slides and closes much easier as well. So no longer are we going to have problems with our sliding doors. And there will be much improved in terms of sealing as well. That window has not been done yet, nor any of those 4 windows, because he actually has to build a scaffolding to be able to actually get up there. And we'll be building the scaffolding across the stairway, and that'll give him access. These windows, again, are very spotty. Some places they are just completely open, and other places they have been fairly well packed. As you can see, I'm trying to make sure that the iris continues to give us a good... The bottom is not bad, but here again on this side you can see all the way to the window itself. And then up above it, it's fine. Yeah, this window's the same thing. So we've got one space here where it's completely open, but the rest of it seems to be fairly well packed. This window has some spaces, but they're not bad. You know, you've got to keep the iris from getting too much light. And then we came to this window. So this window, all we did was take the trim off, and you can see that a total void. Nothing in that space at all. Huge spaces down the side as well. That side, and going over to this side, completely open, as if it was not even thought of or not even requested by the general contractor. So you can see that there's foam where the window was actually placed, but here's another big no-no. So this is the clip to tie the window in place, and it's just hanging loose. It has not been completed at all. So this window was probably the biggest shock that we've had. This one, again, has some places that are not bad, and then there's some places where there's big voids. This particular box is set out from the actual counter itself, and as a consequence we have to build it out a bit before we can put the trim back on. Same thing here, so it's about 1/2 inch or so difference between the layer level of the shiplap and the layer of the box itself, so we actually have to build it up all the way along to be able to actually get that additional space. The window up there was not bad either. I won't go any higher. So we are moving along, getting a fair amount of work done, and redone in such a way that the windows are much better than they were the first time around. I'll keep you up to date as we're heading towards completion for the end of the week. don't know if we're going to be finished on Friday or if it's going to be carry over to some final stuff on Monday. As I said, the only windows that need to be done are that large one, the one in my office, and the 4 windows at the top, celestial windows that we have at the top there. Anyways, it's good to actually get this work done so that we've got a much more airtight building than we did before. Much more in line with what we were originally hoping for when we commissioned the building in the first place, so we can be as close as possible to net zero. I should actually bring on a really cold day, bring a thermal gun through so we can see where other spaces or trouble spots might be. But I think we're getting there. Anyways, until the next time, talk to you soon.
Hey, Tricia here from East Marsh Shakers. Just give you a little update on the window that is up top here. I'll turn it around, you can see. So he's opened it up, and way up there. And he is finding some gaps and everything like this, and why the drywall, like, I mean, it wasn't even framed properly for a window, and then just filled in incorrectly, and then looks like foam was sawed off and on the sides there. And then just the silver board kind of put into this cavity over here, and not even spray foamed in there, like to keep it all together or whatever. So it's no wonder when the wind was blowing, there was foam coming out and whatever. So we've got some solutions coming up to get this done. We'll get some more drywall to fill in the gaps as well too. As soon as he's got sort of a frame there, he's kind of going to reframe the the window on the sides, and then put the regular same size trim on than what we had before. So than what we have. So it'll be much more uniform and look a lot better. And then I can go up there and paint. So yeah, we're getting things done. And most of the windows up here have been looked at, except for the Celestri windows up here. That's going to be a feat, because we have to make some support not terracing, but a scaffolding system across here to be able to get a ladder that's going to go up. So a ladder's going to go from there, and then we'll have a whole scaffolding built across there, and then get up there, and we can take those stickers off. We can see what insulation's been done up there, and yeah, so slowly getting things done. But it's a shame when you have to spend money when things weren't done right in the first place. So anyways, we'll keep you updated on the progress of these repairs. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, it's Roland from East Marsh Shakers, and it's Friday the 23rd. Just an update on the work that's being done by Chris, our finishing carpenter, on the work in the house. So I think I've given you a little bit of an outline as to what's going on with most of the other pieces. Yesterday, Chris got to work on this large window at the west side, the west wall of our house, and we found that there were some large spaces in the actual construction of this window. So the side here and the side over there, so both the vertical edges on the side of the window were very strangely constructed. Now, so I should tell you a little bit about, and we can go back into the history of the actual construction of the house itself. That corner that you're seeing right there, the outside wall, is ICF construction. And so if you follow that same height, so that's 8 feet, right across, that actually gives you the extent of the ICF outside wall. And everything above that is traditional construction in the sense that it's, I think 2x6, double 2x6 construction for the actual walls, so that it's framed out in terms of wood itself. The window outline, so the hole that was left was much larger on both the vertical sides here than the actual window itself. And it was packed in, loosely packed with some styrofoam board, silver board that was that has an aluminum outline on it, and then loosely packed with some spray foam. And so there were large spaces that were available, and then there was no place to actually tie in the actual casing. So this casing, the 3.5 inch, there was no place to actually link it in to the space up there because it was all styrofoam, and you can't nail or glue into styrofoam itself. It just doesn't hold. And as a consequence of that, we ended up with these really, really long or wide pieces that were added around, so framing around for the actual window itself was much wider than anywhere else in the house. And the reason it was done is because they didn't build the, so the original general contractor didn't build the original box for the window appropriately. So we've rebuilt the box so that we filled in the space on this side and the other side with wood so that you could actually tie drywall to it, and then filled in the additional space with as much foam as we possibly could. So both styrofoams with the silver backing, silver board, and also spray foam. So we've ended up with a totally rebuilt and mudded, etc. outline, and then we're going to be putting the 3.5 inch casing, just like for every other window around that window as well. The windows here in the front have been repacked as well, so new spray foam has been entered into it, and the new casing or rebuilt casing has been placed around it. The same goes for this window. This is going to be quite difficult because we're ending up with backlighting again. Iris pays attention to the window itself rather than around it. We ended up with the same kind of issue here. This particular window had a different problem. We ended up with having too much space with the casing on the inside, so the actual framing, this board, was too long, and there was no way to trim it without taking it all out. So we ended up taking an additional board and putting it in behind, so there's a little bit more depth here where my fingers are, all the way along, than there normally is with any of the other windows. So here's the window right beside it, and you can see that there's only the depth of the actual casing itself. Here we've got the casing plus this additional space that's left in between it as well. And that goes all the way around here as well as to this top corner as well. It looks good, and the only way that you can actually see that there's a difference is if you actually look at the side itself, so it's not going to be obvious to anybody. We also ended up getting the window up there refinished, so completely packed in with spray foam. The same thing with the window in the guest room. So this has been totally repacked. My office has been finished. I won't show it to you right now. And this window in the bathroom has been totally redone as well. So repacked, and then having the casing placed on it as well. We'll end up doing some baseboards, etc. So there's some problems here, some problems there, but I'll outline those a little bit later. We have yet to do the 4 celestial windows that are up top. So those 4 windows that are up there, because we have to actually build a bit of a scaffolding in the stairway to be able to get up to those particular windows. And that will be at the beginning of next week. So that brings you up to date as to what we're doing in the house, the inside project, and we'll get to the outside projects when the weather has improved. I mean, it's pretty nice weather right now, but it's supposed to go down to minus 17 Celsius tonight. A little bit on the chilly side. We have a concert tomorrow, so there's lots of things that are actually happening, and we will keep you up to date in terms of this project when it actually gets finished as well. So talk to you soon. Bye.